Hello, my friend, and welcome back or welcome to Something for Everybody. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and this is a solo episode of the podcast where I'm discussing hustle culture excellence and actual excellence. And there's a huge difference between the two. Hustle culture excellence teaches us that we should sleep when we die. We should have a complicated routine, right? We should try these new fads every week. It's me versus you. Let's do everything that's bright and shiny, right? What are the secrets? What are the hacks? We should go big or go home. We should be loud and arrogant. This is what hustle culture excellence teaches us that excellence actually is. But that's not true. Actual, real grounded excellence is hard work, is appropriate rest, is periods of boredom. It's me versus me. It's unglamorous, right? There's no secrets. There's no hacks. It's just relentless consistency. It's steadfast. It's commitment. It's quiet and it's confident. The former is a recipe for emptiness and burnout. This hustle culture excellence is a recipe for emptiness and burnout, right? Actual excellence, like real grounded excellence, leads us to a deep satisfaction and sustainable performance. The two are often confused on the internet, which leads people to pursue excellence entirely the wrong way or give up, altogether, which is very unfortunate because as you'll hear and see in this episode, the pursuit of actual excellence is something we need now more than ever. So first thing to understand, excellence is not about perfectionism or winning at all cost. Actual excellence is more than, just results. This isn't like woo-woo, and it doesn't mean results don't matter. Of course, results matter. Everything in life really is about results. But results aren't the only thing, or at least they don't have to be. We don't have to constrict ourselves so much where we only focus on the outcomes. There's other things that make a pursuit worth doing, right? Just doing it for the love of the thing is really the most important thing we can have. The point of pursuing excellence is the exhilaration, right? The self-discovery and the self-respect you gain from giving something your all. That's what actual excellence is, right? Hustle culture excellence teaches you that it's just about the result. It's only the result. And if you play sports or around sports at all, you know that if you only focus on the outcomes or the results, you actually constrict your ability to perform at your very best. It's not just about where you end up, right? It's also about the person you become and the life you live along the way, right? It's not just about where you end up means it's not just about the end result. It's also about the person you become and the life you live along the way. It's not only about winning, but it's about becoming a winner. That's very, very important, right? Caring deeply and giving something your best shot in whatever endeavor you choose, right? From art to sport to parenting to starting a company to writing a code to writing to coaching to making music, whatever it is a big part of what makes a life full and meaningful. Regardless of where you fall in the rankings, it doesn't actually matter, right? Of course, well, it does matter. I said results do matter, but the thing that's actually going to drive your well-being and your meaning in life is going to become from just giving the thing your absolute best shot, regardless of where you might fall in the rankings. And if you just stick out long enough, if you stay in the fight long enough, I guarantee you'll be higher in the rankings or have better results than you could have ever imagined because you stayed in the fight long enough. You built this actual excellence, which is about commitment and relentless consistency and being adaptable, and all these great skills that we learn from staying in the fight long enough are going after a thing with all of our might, with our absolute best shot, right? It feels good to work toward mastery, to create and contribute in your own and unique way. That's what we're meant to do in this world. Men, women, all of us, we're meant to contribute our unique gifts to the world. That's such a powerful thing, right? We are the best us and we're the second best someone else, right? We're not really living our own lives if it's dictated by other people's opinions. And so the world needs our contributions. The world needs you here, not a smaller, different, sort of warped version of something else, of someone else. It needs you, your unique gifts and talents. And the best way we can express those unique talents and contribute to the world being a better place is by going all in on the thing that we love the most. This has always been the case, but it feels especially true in today's sort of numbed out world where it's easy to get caught up in going through the motions. And so aspiring towards excellence presents a vital alternative for the betterment of our world, right? It's like, excellence is really about becoming the best version of ourselves in greatest service to the world. And so when people think about excellence and talent, they immediately think about, well, what about genetics? What about genetics? Someone made the following comment on a post about sports and tennis that I found very interesting. And let me read it to you, and maybe you've had these same exact thoughts about sports and about genetics and about talent and about maybe where you fall on that sort of hierarchy. Most people in the world lead ordinary lives and make the best of them as best they can without having to or wanting to dedicate themselves to the intensity that you describe. It's called having a life. These high-achieving sports people have been gifted a talent by their genes that they have decided to avail and hone to be the best of their abilities, which is very entertaining for their supporters, and that's it. Those of us without such talents will never succeed at tennis, no matter how much we dedicate ourselves to it or strive to overcome our lack of ability. This is true in every area in life that requires particular talents. Of course, this is a very, very good observation. If you're not 6'5" or above, you're probably not going to play in the NBA. There are a certain level of talent you have to have innately that will allow you to be elite at a sport. But maybe we're not talking about sport. Maybe we're just talking about being elite in life, parenting, business, right? Just a human in the world, being excellent at that. Yes, there's a baseline of talent that you have to reach that sometimes is genetic, that sometimes is God-given if you want to be great at sports, right? If you're not 6'6", again, you're probably not going to be a tight end. You're probably not going to be in the NBA. It just is what it is. Maybe if you weren't born with certain fast twitch muscles, you're not going to be the number one sprinter in the world, right? There is an underlying genetic factor. There is an underlying God-given talent factor that a lot of these great athletes have. But what we're trying to do is extrapolate the skills, the measurable, controllable skills that they have that allow them to be great, that we can then apply to whatever we're doing in our own lives to still bring out the best of ourselves in greatest service to the world. I want to be the best father. I want to be the best husband. Okay, what are the same skills that my favorite athlete uses to be at his very best day in and day out that I can then apply to my life to be my very best day in and day out? So again, that comment is a very good observation, and of course it's not without merit. There's a ton of merit in that comment. Talent matters, especially at the tippy top of most endeavors, and very much particularly in sports. However, as one of my mentors who has dedicated his life to studying performance once told me, you can get to the 98th percentile of just about anything with hard and smart work. 98th percentile in just about anything with hard and smart work. That's from a mentor of mine. As for those last 2 percentage points, you won't know unless you try. You won't know unless you try. If you put in the work, most people can run a sub 250 marathon or deadlift 500 pounds, right? Running under 250 or deadlifting more than 500 pounds requires not only the right effort, but also, yes, the right genetics. The same goes with, writing, art, dance, chess, math, you name it, right? For the vast majority of pursuits, if you work at it for a decade, you will get very, very good. And if you're lucky, maybe even great, right? That's the key. That's like the key point right there. For the vast majority of pursuits, if you work at it for a decade, singular focus for a decade, you will get very, very good. And maybe, potentially, even great. That very, very good is the 98th percentile. And maybe, again, maybe with smart and hard work, dedicated to that craft for a decade. And then, okay, now you're in the 98th percentile because you can get there with smart and hard work. Then potentially those other 2 percentage points, who knows where they come from? Maybe it's luck, right? Maybe even get great, maybe even become the best in the world. But you can become very, very, very good at whatever pursuit you might want. Writing, dance, chess, math, parenting, business, all these sorts of things can happen through this dedicated pursuit over a long period of time, of staying in the fight, right? It's because it's no doubt, right? No doubt the all-time greats inspire us, and their innate talent absolutely matters for their achievements. Of course it matters, but each and every one of us can approach the pursuits that matter to us most with the same attitude of excellence, with the same dedication, with the same commitment. It's how we get the most out of ourselves and lead the biggest, fullest, most fulfilling lives possible. Why not? Because you can't control nature, but you can control how you nurture it. You can control how you nurture it. Plus, if you find something you enjoy and you pursue it with this attitude of excellence, odds are you'll end up getting pretty damn good anyways. You'll certainly grow as a person, and more than anything, that's the point, right? More than anything, that's the point. You not only will probably win, but you'll become a winner, and you'll certainly grow as a person, and more than anything, that's the point, right? Blossoming into that best version of ourselves in greatest service to the world. So what about now, like, our own versions of excellence, right? Events like, Wimbledon, the Super Bowl, the PGA Tour may be examples of achievement, like a pinnacle that few of us can even sort of comprehend. But they offer us a moment to reflect on how each of us can inspire towards our own version of excellence. And so, how should I spend the time I have? That's a question to ask. How should I spend the time I have? How do I summon the focus, to pursue how do I summon the focus to pursue my interests with care? What does this say about the values I hold and my desire to practice them, right? Some of these very important questions that we need to ask. That last one I just said is very important. What does this say about the values I hold and my desire to practice them? What values do you hold? What are your first principles? What are your core values? All these questions matter as we start to sort of materialize what direction we want to go to and the excellence we want to pursue, right? At a time of disconnect and sort of alienation, the pursuit of excellence offers a powerful and necessary path to intimacy with ourselves, our work, and our communities. The world doesn't need more people, resigned to distraction or mediocrity or going through the motions, right? That leads to stagnation in both the individual body and sort of the community, the body politic. What the world needs is more people pursuing their own versions of excellence. What the world needs is people pursuing to become the best versions of themselves in greatest service to the world. That's their own version of excellence, and that's what we need as a collective unit, as an individual, coming together, pursuing the best versions of ourselves in greatest service to the world, so we can do it together in community, in relationship with ourselves and with others. That's the most beautiful thing we can do. And that's what I think about this distinction between hustle culture excellence, which is not real, sustainable, true excellence, versus this idea of actual excellence, which is sustainable for everyone and available for us if we really want to live the good life, becoming, again, the best version of ourselves in greatest service to the world, is about that actual excellence, is about living the most fulfilled, meaningful life through pursuing something that matters deeply to us, and going all in on that thing. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I very much appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, if you found it valuable at all or found any insights in it whatsoever, please share it with a friend who also might find it valuable. That's the best way that we can market this podcast, is by you sharing it with as many friends as possible. But other than that, I appreciate you very much. All the links to support the podcast are down below. Merch, exclusive community, all that sort of stuff is in the show notes below. So click there. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.